Let's talk about the Redskins moving forward and Jay Gruden, because we have had a lot of callers, both sides, and I understand both sides. 5 seasons in, he's going to have made the playoffs once, a 9-7 year, but the last 2 years riddled with injuries and has kept him competitive. What do you see moving forward?
Well, I think because of all those injuries, right now there's been no smoke regarding him being ousted. Okay, so I would expect at this point, I would think he'll be back. Nothing is definite. I haven't been told that is definite, but it's a sense that you get, and so I think that's why I'm not sitting here expecting a change. At this point. Now, again, I talked to Jay about this a couple weeks ago. He's like, you're fine, and then you're not fine. So if something changes, I don't know, but, that's just my expectation at this point.
All right, so let's go underneath them. With Greg Minuski and the defense, look, they've responded the last 2 weeks and have played good football, not against the best offenses, Jacksonville and Tennessee, but the defense has actually played well overall. But then you have DJ Swearinger popping off. Jonathan Allen would be on the other side. Some people say, well, it's just Swearinger, but there's just a lot of noise around that defense and the defensive coordinator. How do you see them moving forward there?
Yeah, and I think the hard part with the defense is that they have been healthy. And the only guy that they lost was Quentin Dunbar, a good corner. Not going to diminish his absence because I think it's hurt them. But overall, as a group, they've been really healthy. So especially compared to the offense. So and to me, they did not play well, and they regressed for whatever reason. If you want to blame it on scheme, you want to blame it on players, whatever it is, they did not get better as the season went on. They started off well, again, did not get better. So my guess would be if there are changes, that's the side of the ball you're going to look to because of the health stuff. And because, in other words, because they were healthy and they didn't produce. Now, part of the reason they were doing well early is because the Redskins had a very good ball control offense, didn't turn the ball over, and a great punting game with Tress Way. And that put them in position to succeed more often than not. And that made a difference. So there was a trickle-down effect, but I think at some point, when you have a season like this, you just can't use injuries alone as a reason for the downfall. It was a big factor, but I think you have to step away from the season and just evaluate, well, was it that alone? And on that side of the ball, why did they not get better? Was it personnel? I think you could make a case with that, some fits that maybe weren't right. But, I think again, this is a guess, that if there are going to be changes, if they wanted to make changes and show fans that they're doing something, that's where you're going to do it. I don't think that's a definite. But, I think, like I said, I think that would make some sense if they're going to keep Jay, then, and you say, well, we're going to keep Gruden, but we're going to make these changes. Well, that's probably where you would go, but again, that's not to blame Minuski for everything. We just know how this game works and how this sport works, and so nothing's definite at this point.
John, is it a weird locker room vibe with Swearinger being so vocal? He rips Minuski, and then Jonathan Allen goes on Twitter and says Greg Minuski, misspelled his name, by the way, coached a great game. So that's got to be kind of weird, and Swearinger's under contract for one more year. Do you see him being part of the Skins' long-term plans after next year?
No. no, but no, I don't. But I don't even listen. He's got the meeting with Gruden today to determine what's going to happen, if anything, based off his comments. And so I don't know. I think honestly a lot will be determined today what they do with him. And if Jay Gruden's told us yesterday that he has talked to him about this a few times, and yet it still happens. The one thing I will say, and this is a little bit of a detour, but whether or not you agree with him, whether or not you think it's good or bad, we always get these kind of quotes anonymously. The guy signed his name to it, and that's what people always want when they have to see these quotes. Like usually this is the kind of stuff you see at the end of a season where it's an anonymous player says this. Well, Swearinger owned it. So, whatever everybody wants says, that's he did. But again, that doesn't mean it's good or bad, whether you agree or not. But I don't see that going forward. But I don't see him being a part of it long term. No.